When it comes to fragrance, I love the aspect of sharing, so thank you to my friend Marty. Today we're going to be reviewing Rayhaan Terra, a take on Outlands from Amouage. So yeah, as I said in the intro, thank you to my friend Marty. You know, he has a steady collection growing, and he was nice enough to lend me a few of his bottles. A couple others as well, so you know, maybe I'll do reviews on them, or maybe I'll put all three of them in a list. You could kind of have a starter list with the three he gave me, so that'd be kind of fun just to just to work with that idea. Maybe we'll see. But we do have Rayhaan Terra today, a take on Amouage Outlands. I was lucky enough to smell Outlands in a boutique store, so I will give you at least the thoughts that I could get down on paper from that one time, that one visit. I wouldn't say, you know, I feel fully confident in everything, comparing it to one-to-one, but you know, at least to give you the general idea of what you're possibly going to be spending your money on. The price difference is pretty great. I think at least Outlands has got to be like $400 to $500 before any, you know, taxes, fees, if you will have. Rayhaan Terra, I believe when my friend got it was around 40, but this has been out for quite a while now. I think the Outlands hype, if you will, has died down a little bit as well. So you maybe be able to, you know, maybe 35 or so, maybe a little lower, who knows. Secondhand market too, you know, there's a lot of means to finding that fragrance out there. I will say right off the bat though, this is a DNA that absolutely needs to be tested, no matter the cost. Even if you could get Amouage Outlands for 50 bucks, I would really want you to, you know, see how you feel about this DNA. It's pretty polarizing. It's very intense, very strong. I'll talk about that more as, you know, we get into the video. So right now, let's get it on skin and paper. So luckily I don't have anything on right now, so it's perfect timing. Woo! Atomizer is good for sure on these new Rayhaan bottles. All right, let me get my notes out real quick. So right off the bat on the tester strip, I get more of a mentholated feel from the spices versus on hand. It's a lot darker. The spices feel richer. And I will say this is going to be the general opening. You know, everyone's skin will be different. So like I said, you know, please test on tester and on your skin if you can. Yeah, heavy dosage of spice mixing with a very strong patchouli. You know, some people get a earthy note, some people get a chocolate note from patchouli, different types of patchouli as well. For me, this kind of sits in a hybrid. I definitely get bitterness and earthiness, but there is this kind of depth of chocolate as well. I will say most notably, the opening lasts a lot less than on Outlands, and the quality is noticeably different. I think that's pretty expected for, like, you know, basically a 10% price to the original. So that opening, it will be a pro or a con depending on how much you like that opening. You know, do you want it to last longer, or would you rather it dissipate? Oh, this is pretty good. I do like it. The more times I wear it, I do enjoy it. But like I said, it's going to be very polarizing. All right, let's check out the notes I have on the mid. I should have better planned this video to, like, could have sprayed myself and, you know, come back in half an hour, but let's take a look at what we got. Okay, this is also another aspect of the fragrance that I think will be polarizing. The longer that it's on skin, the sweeter it's becoming. Outlands is the same case as well, but I think that the resins just feel more natural and more pronounced, versus in the Rayhaan, it does become very syrupy, very vanilla and amber. You know, you still get this resinous nature and patchouli nature for sure, but they're just kind of getting drowned out a little bit more the longer the fragrance is on. In terms of dry down as well, I would say this fragrance, I would say Rayhaan Terra lasts a little bit less than the original. Either way though, I think you're going to be getting like 10 plus hours on skin for most people. Of course, you know, mileage varies for, you know, from so many parameters, but generally speaking, this is more strong than the majority of fragrances out there. But then again, you know, that patchouli note, the way it's coming through for me, again, as I said, it's going to be different on everyone's nose, everyone's skin. So it really does need to be an emphasis that I keep making in the video that you please sample this. I will say as well, you know, just the Rayhaan in general, while it isn't linear, I feel like the progression from top to mid to bottom is just a little less, just feels a little less unique, or yeah, it's just not as notable for sure. But again, I think that makes sense for a lot of clone fragrances. Not that they're using terrible materials, it's just that there's probably materials they had to skip out on altogether. And while the essential backbone is still there, I think when it comes to certain nuances in a fragrance, it is just hard to deliver on that same aspect if you don't want to push, into a higher price category. Not saying it would have to be $400 either, but there is like a slightly more high threshold, maybe $50, $60, $70 to get some more ingredients in there as well. The value here is definitely obvious. Like I said, it is 10 times the price for the original. You could even get this bottle if you really like it and kind of enjoy it for what it is, and then maybe save up and get the Amouage if you really love it that much. Again, everyone's mileage is going to vary. I think even for an Amouage, I find this product very interesting because it's kind of, to me, writing the original Amouage to the new line of Amouage based on, changes in the creative director at Amouage. But I do enjoy, this is kind of writing a fine balance of the two, maybe pushing a little more into the new Amouage, which is kind of aiming to be, I would say, more mass appealing in the way that they're structuring the fragrances. But by all means, this is not mass appealing. So it does still give me that slight tinge, maybe like 40% of the OG Amouage, 60% of the new. I think that's a nice kind of area to experiment with Amouage if you're new to the brand. Very interesting that Rayhaan picked it. Again, I really just think they picked it because of Fragrance Flan and a lot of other influencers really hyping up Outlands. I don't think in any other scenario they would have done this fragrance. I don't think it makes sense from a marketing or economic standpoint to do so. Sometimes, it's hard to juggle with that idea. I understand all of these businesses are aiming to make money. They are all competitors. There are more and more competitors being added to the group day by day. But it is a little weird. We get like the same stuff from every brand all at once because hype is at its highest. So I do kind of hope that just clone or inspired by brands, while, I know they want to work on sales, I want them to deliver some unique stuff, whether it be clones or originals. They should just take that next step. I feel like they're kind of there. A lot of people in this space entering this space as new customers, and I think it would be a perfect time to really dive into stuff that makes them stand out, if you will. Oh man, this is good though. The more I keep smelling this, good. Maybe I need a decant of Outlands, honestly. This is good. Okay, next up, let's talk about the situations as to where you could wear them. I think this is the trickier aspect, to be honest. I think there's going to be a lot of people around you who don't really particularly like the fragrance, the DNA, the nuances. For example, my friend Marty has noticed that, when he shows other people this fragrance, it's not really going to make their top 10 list, or it's just projecting so heavily that it's hard to honestly be around. I know some people get like an old grandma vibe from this fragrance as well. I think that's just because patchouli is in a lot of older women's fragrances, with Chanel being very iconic for that. But it just depends. Patchouli is a very versatile note, and again, it's just coming down to your nose, how you detect it, what memories that evokes for you. So there's a lot of things to consider, but don't let other people's opinions, sway you from liking what you like. Really, all it comes down to, as I keep saying, please just sample it. I say that in every video, but especially this one. This could very well be easy money that you waste. Even though it is that $40, $35, that's fragrance money you could put elsewhere. You could save up for something more expensive, something at the same price. You could get 2 bottles for that price. So just keep that all in mind. Again, I think the occasions where you would wear this, it's probably going to be kind of opulent, like a date, an event that you want to stand out at. But again, it's kind of a risk, right? Like I keep saying, I don't know if there's tons of people that are really going to love this. You could maybe make the case that Terra is more mass appealing than Outlands, just because, again, as I said, the further into the dry down you get, it does become sweeter, more resinous, vanillic, ambery. So kind of more in the line of what stuff people might be familiar with less of those, true Omani resins that, Amouage is known for. Forgot to add as well, the initial spray can be really loud and might make you sneeze, or it could be headache inducing. So I would say upon initial spray, if you're just getting into this fragrance, maybe don't smell it right on your hand right away. I would say just give it 30 seconds to a minute. just to let it settle down a little bit. But again, yeah, to wrap up, great price proposition. Just make sure you like the DNA. I think the transition from opening to mid to dry down just kind of happens a lot faster. So I do kind of feel like you're missing out on some of the journey that the original fragrance has to offer. If that's something important to you, please consider that. But again, it could be a pro as well. You're getting into the more mass appealing aspects quicker, definitely. And it lasts a little bit less long, which I think in this case might actually be a good thing. Like, I think if you wore Outlands to a date or a late night event, you're easily gonna smell that the next morning, even with a shower. And for some people that's kind of frustrating. You start to get overlap. You want to wear your next fragrance for the day, and you're gonna get Outlands on your layering combo without wanting it. So just keep that in mind. But I do find the DNA itself very interesting. Again, as I said, I think this wouldn't have happened had there not been so much Outlands hype. Kind of seems like Rayhaan has done that a good amount, except maybe that one Jungle Vibes one they did, which is Dries Van Noten, is not very hyped in the space of like what I would consider like the consumers that like clones, but more so like niche perfumery. But yeah, interesting choice. I've never smelled that one. Maybe I could get a sample because it has kind of intrigued me with that green figgy kind of vibe. But I do have a fragrance already in that lane that I want to talk to you about. So probably do that in another video. That's all from me today for Rayhaan Terra. Like I said, this is a beast of a fragrance in more ways than one, and you certainly need to give this a sampling if you can. I think you will thank yourself whether you like or dislike it. Taking that initial step to sample will be very helpful for this fragrance. But yeah, I mean, I do like it. I see the value of it as well. I do notice that Amouage is still considerably better, but is it 10 times the price better? That's going to vary for everybody. For me, realistically, I would probably just get a decant, like 5 to 8 ml, like a little travel spray of the original. And I could probably call it good on that, because I'm not always obsessive on like collecting bottles, and I can't see myself wearing 100 ml of any Amouage really. As much as I love the brand, that's probably my favorite brand. Yeah, that would be pretty intense. Maybe some other ones they've discontinued, unfortunately, but this is a tangent. I apologize. All right, it's Patrick here. Thank you for joining the Scent Booth. I'll see you in another. Take care. Oh yeah. Like and subscribe too. I forget to say that in so many videos. Yeah, it's important, I guess. I'm just glad that you're here. So yeah, if you like the content, just subscribe so we stay in touch and we keep each other in the loop, and I keep making content that you can enjoy, and hopefully that gives you different takes than other people give you. That's all really I'm here for, and to educate you, and yeah, make sure you spend your money wisely. All right, bye for real this time. Peace out.